When we build these hotels, we don't think of them as assets. It's like almost like our homes. It's just you get a lot of connection with these things, and so that in that sense we don't mind signing these personal guarantees.
I think that's an important distinction, right? I'm going to call it the emotional connection, the passion projects, but you're right.
Yes.
Homes. Welcome to Teague Talks. Today we're in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, sitting down with CEO and owner of Kana Hotel Group, Alpesh Patel. Alpesh, thank you for having us today.
Thanks for having me, Teague.
I'm excited to do these things. I love the talks in general, but I really love the in-person. We get to sit down, we get to be a little more depth, a little more personal. So thanks for having us. I'm excited to do this.
Absolutely.
Before we dive into origin stories and where are we?
Yes.
Where are we today?
We are at our new Embassy Suites Tempo dual brand hotel in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, here in the Great Smoky Mountains.
They are smoky. If you look around, they are very smoky today.
Yes.
And this is, Pigeon Forge is awesome. If you don't know Pigeon Forge, everybody come, bring your kids, Dollywood and the like.
Yes.
But this is a big boy project again. I keep saying that, but that's my term. But this is not your father's Hampton Inn.
Yes. This was it's a market. We're based in Knoxville and Sevier County. Pigeon Forge has always been a market that we've wanted to do something flagship wise, and so 276 keys, resort style. Can't wait to show you around.
I can't wait to walk. It's gonna be, it's gonna be. I mean, God, these things are great. I get excited when I walk these. But first,
yes,
let's dive in. I want to know, who is Alpesh Patel? How did Alpesh Patel get here? How did we get here? Again, more stories of our industry, which I love. This is how our industry got created.
Yes.
So tell me, how'd you get here?
Absolutely.
Dad started in the business.
Ooh, it's a long story, but I'll try to be as brief as possible.
We'll get there.
Yes. So I started, my father immigrated in the United States in 1968, and he was studying for dairy farming and agriculture and chemistry, that sort of thing. Absolutely nothing to do with the hotel industry or real estate. And like many people in our older generation, he purchased a small little motel in Michigan City, Indiana, little 20-unit motel called the ABC Motel, and that was my home growing up.
Of course. What year was that?
That was in the mid-'70s. Yeah. So then after that, he had an opportunity. We're like, hey, let's go high end. So we found a little 50-year room property in Knoxville. And so Knoxville's been home for me ever since I was about 4 years old.
Did we sell the 20 unit and move to the 50?
Yes. Yeah. Sold the 20 unit, moved to the 50, lived in 2 rooms. We went from 1 to 2 guest rooms.
Big time.
at the American Heritage Inn, at the time is what it was called, another independent property. And then that was in the mid-'80s. And we were fortunate enough to get our first franchise. I believe I was, maybe 6 or 7 years old at the time, and it was a Days Inn. Excellent. And we were like, we got it made.
Yeah,
right. Revenues, went up quite a bit from the independent hotel. I would be vacuuming the rooms. My older sisters would be cleaning the bathrooms, and our vacations were our little outdoor pool that we had at that motel.
Sure. You had a pool. You were fancy.
We had a pool. It was all we needed.
So was that the one hotel? Did one become 2, become 4?
Yeah, so that was one hotel, and then yes, it expanded to a couple more economy hotels, 2, 3, 4 at the time.
All in and around Knoxville?
All in the Knoxville area, absolutely. We had an exterior corridor Hampton Inn, a 68-room Hampton Inn, and that was in the early 90s. So that was our first kind of true new build. And of course, back when Hampton first started, and they started with these small exterior corridors, and they would just crush the competition.
Yes.
So we had that story, and then I learned at a very early age, this was in my teenage years, that kind of the first where I became risk averse. So my father made an acquisition of 4 economy hotels. Did not really understand the capital intensity that these required. So basically, bought these things, and it was tough. We had a hard time paying the bills, and I think that experience really helped me long term.
I love this because everybody thinks it's easy, right? You guys all make it look easy now. Oh yeah,
Right.
we just do these, and hotels always make money. And
Absolutely. A lot of people think that. Oh yeah, people are just checking in. This is great. With these economy hotels, you're paying off times room revenue,
Right.
that sort of thing. So you think, hey, I'm getting a good deal paying 2.5 times. But then what happens is when you have all these renovations going on, you got to look at your overall basis. And the basis was too high at this time. And the debt was also too high. So what would happen is that we would have to take all of the funds from this Hampton Inn that was crushing it to try to feed these other hotels just to survive. And that's when I really learned the power of the brands and how important it is to not be over leveraged and to be at the right basis. It really set the foundation even before I knew anything else.
And how old are you at this time?
I was probably 15, 16
Right.
at the time.
But still, Dad's helping you, give you an insight into the business, and even if it's not an insight, you're living it.
I'm living it, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you get a true, hey, this is what's going on, because I'm sitting in there and I'm helping, pay the bills, how much money's in the bank account, that sort of thing. You really learn a lot.
So did you always want to be in the business?
Well, so then what happened is I would work the front desk at some of these places as my summer jobs when I had any kind of free time. And I really, I wasn't forced into it. I just really enjoyed it. I remember at that Days Inn, it was a 3-story exterior corridor. We didn't have elevators. And there'd be guests, I remember, on the 3rd floor that would ask for a crib in their room or a rollaway bed. And I would run out of the front desk and I'm like, this is so much fun trying to satisfy them, and literally drag this rollaway bed up 3 flights of stairs and then come down with a smile on my face. I'm like, this is so much fun. And that's when I'm like, I want to do this for a living.
I love that. My similar story. My first job was the bellman at a Holiday Inn, right, in Atlanta, Powers Ferry. And then just our natural curiosities, I would hang out with the night auditor and figure out what he was doing, and go down to the restaurant and the bar and learn what they were doing.
Yes.
Just because you want to learn it all.
Absolutely.
I ended up in brokerage, not in ownership, but yes. Okay, so continue. So then you...
Yes. So wanted to make the hotel business my career.
Okay.
I kind of knew that in my high school days. So then I was like, you know what? This is a long shot, but let me apply to this college, Cornell. I'm sitting here in East Tennessee. I'm like, but I've heard cool things about this place. What's the worst thing that could happen? I lose my $100 application fee. So yes, I was fortunate enough to get into Cornell and did my undergrad there in the School of Hotel Administration. Really enjoyed my time there, concentrated in finance, real estate development, really started liking the numbers side of the business as well as the operations. And after that, I had an opportunity to, get some internships. I want to work somewhere, see what's going on in the industry before I move back to Knoxville. And also, I'm young. I want to live in New York City, have a good time. So after Cornell, I lived in New York City and worked for Ernst & Young for a couple of years in their hospitality services group. We did feasibility studies mostly was my assignment. So I would see how developers would go in and run pro formas, and everything just clicked. I said, I could really do this.
I can do this.
Yes. So then I said, okay, I could really do this, but I don't have any capital. So how am I going to do this? So moved back to Knoxville and tried to convince, friends and family, hey, you know what? Look, trust me. Let's do this first hotel. It's going to do really well, and then let's take it from there. So was able to convince 10 or 15 of family friends, close friends of ours to invest. We didn't have any of our own equity, and I said, I'm not going to take $1 of management fees or anything until you guys get all your money back. And then maybe give me a small little sliver stake if you all do really well. So that's how it started. The first hotel was a new build Hampton Inn right outside of Knoxville in Lenore City. A little 81-room hotel that we still have.
Right brand, right market.
Yes.
Yeah, and obviously it worked. You still have it.
Absolutely, yeah. We still have it, and it's great. We actually got through the 20-year license agreement and did a complete gut job, and it's like a brand new hotel now.
So what year was this?
Okay, so it was 2003
Okay.
that we built this first Hampton Inn in Lenore City.
So you've graduated college in '01.
Yes, graduate in 01.
Gone 2 years to Ernst & Young.
Yes.
And now you're like, I can do this.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
how are you convincing a bank, a franchise,
Yes.
maybe you're leaning on dad and like, actually, he's going to sign for me. But you're running around calling friends
Yes.
and family like,
Yes.
hey, this is going to be fantastic. Trust me.
Yes.
I'm 23.
Exactly.
I know what I'm doing.
I know what I'm doing. 23. Sure. Give me all your hard-earned money.
Yeah, right.
So it was very challenging. It took a lot of effort. Small, community banks that want to invest in the market in the area. It just took everything, and fortunate enough to get that one hotel put together. And then you have a story, a real life track
Here's
record.
what I've done. Here's the proof of concept.
Yes.
I can build, and you build it from scratch.
Yes.
That's a piece of dirt. I'm gonna go get a loan, I'm gonna get a construction company.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna pick out all the furniture. Yeah, it's franchise. So
Yes.
There's guardrails.
Yes. So it's everything that I learned, through growing up in the industry, college, my consulting days, everything all came together. Loved seeing guests come through the door. You're building something out of the dirt, and it's just so satisfying saying, our dream, our vision, they're actually coming in. This is working great. Let's do a bunch of these.
How much time between your first one and your second one?
Oh, it was, we were just blowing and going. Because at that time, in the 2000s, there was,
Yes.
I know arbitrage is a fancy word, but basically it's you're building this thing for $6 million, and the day that it opens, it's worth $10 million.
Correct.
Why wouldn't I want to build
Yeah, right.
tons of them? It was, easy in the sense of that the numbers part was easy. You still had to execute and do all that.
So put more detail to that on why that was the case. You could build for 6 and it was worth 10. Because the punchline is
Yes.
do that today. But let's
Yes,
go there.
exactly. So
Right.
we'll
Get to
fast
that.
forward.
Get to that. But so get me, why could you build it for 6 and
Yes, because
that.
at that time, construction costs were reasonable, and these higher end brands were just getting that premium. And on the development side, there were these new brands, Hilton Garden Inn that was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, there was maybe 50 to 100 Hilton Garden Inns, and so we were able, just the timing, the sweet spot was there where Courtyard had about probably 600, 700 units, so they were ahead. So I'll be honest, it didn't take a genius. So I would go around and say, okay, well, this Courtyard in this secondary tertiary market is killing it. Now, if I build a Hilton Garden Inn, I know this is what it's going to cost to build. Here's what I'm going to do top line. Here's what the NOI is going to be. Let's take a cap rate. Okay, boom, let's do it. So I would literally drive around the country, and my thing at that time was not high barriers to entry markets. Let's take a long time to build these things. It's where can I build these things as quick as I possibly can. So I was going to Tupelo, Mississippi, to Abilene, Texas, you name it. We were trying to build as many as we could, efficiently, quickly, and scaled our model from there.
how important was brand? And what I'm really asking is, had you drilled down on a brand and said, we're going to go, and then worked with the brand and said, where are available markets? Or no, wasn't even that technical?
Brand was everything for us.
Yeah.
We were more concerned about the brand than the actual market itself.
Right.
So we would go around and I would call our preferred brand folks, and the first thing I would ask them is that, are these brands available? And if they said no, sorry, we have some local guys out here, we would actually move on to the next market.
Fascinating. What brands were you building at that time, if I may ask?
Mostly Hilton.
Okay.
And about 70 to 80% of our portfolio is Hilton, even today.
So flash forward, I want a punchline. How many do we have today?
So we have about 70, 75 hotels in our portfolio.
75 hotels in 23 years.
Yes.
I'm fascinated on the brand because I think brands are so important.
Mm-hmm.
How did you, and you claim now you're into embassies. What were you in? So you started with the Hamptons, then you were Hilton Garden. What other
Yes.
brands have you jumped onto along the ways?
Yes. And a lot of it is timing, when the brands were introduced, how many, the distribution of the brands. Of course, as everyone knows, the limited service extended stays have done extremely well. Right. So home twos have been very successful, and we were, while we were still developing a lot, that brand got introduced. So that's been great. Dual brands have been a key part of our growth strategy as well.
Talk about those.
We were one of the first to do these dual brands, and we've done Home to Trues, Home to Hamptons, a lot of dual brands, and we really like them for the scale and the efficiencies. Even this hotel, it's an Embassy Tempo. We have a single check-in. All the amenities are the same. One fitness center. Yeah. So they've just been super efficient for us on the development side and the operations side.
I'll get you to talk about this one, Tempo Embassy, but go to the Home to Trues. We heard a lot of those of why they worked really well, because you had the extended stay component plus the transient, and we all have learned, sometimes the hard way, the more extended stay you can get over to those extended stay product, the longer term of stay, the more efficient that box gets, and it really works. Yes. So if you've got a True or a Hampton or what have you, you can shift the transient to one side, the longer term stay to the other, and it really
absolutely
makes that.
It's a perfect, a perfect marriage with those two. And we have one, operationally, we'll have one general manager, one director of sales, one elevator bank, 2 stairwells, so whether you're building, you're really trying to build one hotel, but when you go into a room, it's a prototypical True, it's a prototypical Home too, so the guests don't know when you're actually in the room.
What was your most prolific year? When did you build the most? Do you remember? Was there a time frame in there when you were building the most?
I think that the time frame that we built the most was about 15 years ago. So when was that?
I mean, that's the GFC, right? I'm talking 2011.
And exactly, 2011. And that's where timing has never been my thing. We've always built these things for the long-term view. I've never tried to, the economy is so unpredictable. There's always going to be cycles, and we've never been acquirers, sellers. So we're never trying to figure out. It was development, and hey, you know what? We might open into a big recession, and obviously the great financial crisis. We opened about, I think, 4 or 5 hotels right around that time.
Which in hindsight was perfect timing, though, I would argue. Because nobody was building a bunch of stuff.
Yes.
And so you got to build and you got to open, and then you came out right as the world was roaring back.
Yes, and the basis was...
And your basis was...
Fantastic, yes.
It was great.
Yes.
Let's talk about basis today.
Yes. Glad you bring that up.
I'm looking around. Does the game still work? Is it still the same game? Or?
Oh my God. As you know, and as everyone knows now, the game is completely... I have a lot of young people that will come and ask me, they're saying, I want to do what you did.
Yes.
And
everyone does.
And I'm just like, I hate to be mean, but I don't know if I could do what I did if I'm starting right now. Because we talked about building those hotels for $6 million that were worth $10 million when they opened the doors. Now I'd be building them for 15, and they might be worth 12 if I'm lucky. So the game has changed a lot.
Yes.
And as a result, we have dramatically slowed down our development. We've built about 5 or 6 Embassy Suites new builds, and in the last 10 years or so, and the bases of those have been incredible. Somewhere in the 150 to 180,000 a key range, at that time.
For a prototype Embassy.
Prototype, design option 3 Embassy Suites. Yep. So those have been very successful for us. This Embassy Tempo dual brand was, double that. It was over 300 a key, and it's very difficult to make it work at those numbers. You added
all of these rooftops and these cool amenities, and
that's the thing. Yeah, now we just want to have a good time and have a place that people will really, really enjoy, and hopefully it pays off long term.
Okay, so it's more of that. We're in a place that we want to go to, and our level of expectations have risen.
Yes.
And then we're just kind of hoping that it works so that it pays off.
Yes. Now it's a place that I actually would want to stay at.
Yes. Yes.
Is what happens.
But again, you come from I'll call it your father's Hampton Inn, 2-story exterior corridor.
Yes.
To these 300-room projects.
Yes.
They would never have thought of doing this. They would have been like, no. It's an elephant that eats too much.
Right. Scared of all the food and beverage and all the different components. But as you grow and get larger hotels, you gain the confidence that, hey, I can really do this. The Embassy Suites, comp breakfast and evening, manager's reception and all that doesn't scare us anymore because we've seen how it works.
So I want to go back on the time frame, and then I'll get into all your life lessons and things you've learned, and we'll talk 26 and future things to come. But you sold those 4 economy hotels and pivoted to development, right? That sort of thing. We sold those and put the money into a brand new Hilton Garden Inn in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Yeah, I mean, in reality though, they were sold for what the debt was at, so there wasn't like this big capitalization at that point.
A lot of the guys, Dad, I came back, the smart, smug 23-year-old, I know everything.
Yes.
And said, Dad, sell the Days Inns or Ramadas and
yes,
money, I'm going to go build a Hilton Garden Inn.
Exactly.
And the punchline there is that Dad said,
okay.
Right.
What Dad
right.
says to his 23-year-old son who's never done it before.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure, good call. Here you go.
That's right. Yeah. I don't know if I would do that with my kids nowadays.
There's no chance. I mean, you're still going to no, there's no way. All right, let's go to the future. I want to know what's next.
Yes.
So I know you got cool projects in the mix, but what's next?
Yes. So what's next is really taking care of our existing assets. These things take a lot of capital, and we are fortunate to be in a great basis, very low debt with our portfolio. So we want to renovate these things and make them even better than they are now, and we think that that's going to really get us ahead long term. A lot of other hotels, either through they're not well capitalized, or for whatever reason the ownership company might not have that same passion of guest satisfaction. So we think that's how we're going to win long term.
All right, I love this. I got a bunch of in-depth sort of operations and hotelier questions.
Yes.
One of them is now you own 76, right? Like, are you ever a hotel broker in me? But
yes.
I mean this sincerely. Are we ever going to sell? Are we going to sell that original one? I know it's nostalgic, but
yes.
when are those a drag on whether it's cash flow or operations or just sort of mental capacity?
Yes.
And focus more on these? When are we going to recycle capital?
Yes.
Like, talk to me about that vision.
That's a good question. My thinking right now is that as long as we could run these hotels efficiently and take care of them better than what another owner how they could take care of them, then we want to keep them. The day that we think that someone else can do a better job than us, then I think it'd be time to look at other opportunities.
So let me continue down that path though. Then how do you've never been good at buying existing hotels?
Correct.
So why not? Why not buy the hotel right next door if you can operate it more efficiently?
Yes. Well, now that we're not going to develop anymore, I might be calling you a lot more now, Teague.
Get into that. And go back to the why we're not developing. And I'm going to again put words in your mouth, because we could build it for $6 million and it's worth 10. And
yes.
Now we got to build it for $60 million and it's worth 50.
True. And then also, if you just look at long term, I mean, I'm looking at the U.S. economy, U.S. population growth, right? I mean, we were fortunate that in the last, 20, 30, 40 years, we've had, great growth in this country. Now, are we, what's going to happen over the next 30, 40 years? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've seen reports that, now we're looking at like a 0.5% population growth. I mean, how many more new hotels really need to be built? Is one thing I look at. So, not saying we're never going to build another hotel, but it's going to be super, super selective.
Do you think, to that point, do you think we were undersupplied when you started? So in the 90s and the early 2000s, even through the teens, we were just undersupplied in hotels?
I think we were undersupplied, and I think that there was so much growth in that. I love all of our brand partners, but all these new brands that got introduced, are there true distinct swim lanes between some of these brands? But the thing is, there was so much growth that you could have a Hampton Inn and build a Home 2 next door to it, and they both were successful because the markets were growing, and so that was fine.
That's what I was going to say. In the defense of the brand, it's easy to knock the brands, right? They have Marriott has 30 plus and keeps adding, right?
Yes.
So same with Hilton, same with IHG, same with Hyatt, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
It was easy to knock them, but to your point, no, it worked.
Yes.
Right? Like,
absolutely.
we opened 2 or 3 or 4, and there's room for all of them.
There was room for all of them. Everyone was successful. There was growth.
But you're saying you think we're getting to a tipping point.
I think we're getting to the point where certain markets, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I understand in this industry, it's fun to build these nice, shiny
Sure.
new boxes. And I usually temper when people come and ask me, hey, I think it's a great idea. I said, okay, well, let's look at how's the market doing, how much growth is coming in. It's a lot more challenging now than back when I was, driving around and building hotels in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Yeah, you were almost closing your eyes.
Exactly.
And build it, they will come.
Yes.
That brand's available. I'll build it in that market, and we'll see.
That's
and it'll
right.
work out.
Yes.
And today, you can't do that.
That's right. Absolutely not.
I mean, why'd you get it easy? It's tough for the next generation. You made it.
Well, I'm sure they have things that are easier now for them.
They'll look back on it, it'll work. When you look
Yes.
back on it, you didn't know it.
At the time, we did not know it.
You did not know. It was
Yes.
only in hindsight.
Exactly.
Every time you were risking everything, your entire life savings.
Yes.
Every deal. Every time. Just kind of
Exactly.
hoping it worked out.
Who knows? Now, I don't understand it, but maybe this AI stuff, there's some big revolution that folks right now are in the middle of that when we look back.
Will be obvious.
Yes,
Or
yes.
not, who knows?
Right.
But it's interesting, you're not looking at economic growth, you're looking at population growth. I got to point that out.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We need more people to stay at our hotels. We're going to build a bunch more.
Yeah. All right. All right, I want to go back to like philosophies and things you learned.
Yes.
Things that along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So what one, you talk about your vision and you
Yes.
accomplished more than you thought.
Yes.
But what advice do you think you would have given your original self? Like what lessons do you think you
Yes.
learned along the way? Give me some more of those.
The biggest thing that we've learned is I know everyone talks about it, but it's guest satisfaction. Take care of your product, take care of your people, make sure you take care of your guests. That we just keep emphasizing that, and I think we really try to not just talk the talk, but walk the walk.
Let me stick on that, guest satisfaction, that's operations. We've learned since COVID specifically, right, the last 5 years, operations have been really hard. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are coming to their end of that. They're running out of their enthusiasm for operations.
Yes.
And they're starting to get out of it, whether it's handed off to third-party management or, dare I say, sell the whole portfolio and move on to something else. Mm-hmm. Where do you sit in that spectrum?
Yes, we still like operating. We're completely vertically integrated.
Right.
We want to be in control of our destiny. So I don't see us, it's very hard to picture us going on the third-party management route. People ask me how many hotels do we have, and sometimes I kind of take a pause when I say 75, because our goal is to be nimble and be one of those, where we have 5 or 10 or 15 hotels where we're really hands-on and on top of everything. And we take a lot of pride in that. Our team, they've been with us forever. And that's what's really helped out on the growth.
Can you be on top of 75 hotels? Each and every one of those 75 hotels?
I think if you're, if you just stay, efficient and keep things simple, that things you could really be on top of that. We've seen a lot of times when we've taken on, we started a little bit of third-party management at some point, and we actually learned our lesson that our GMs, the ownership group sometimes would be asking for additional reporting and things like that. So we kind of learned what not to do. We try to really focus our GMs that, hey, take care of the guests, don't take care of the owners. Is really our philosophy. We don't need y'all to be sitting at your desk working on budgets and reforecast and all this sort of thing. Pour coffee in the morning, work breakfast, work the front desk.
Yeah.
And we try to really streamline our operations.
And in the middle of the day, work on your
Absolutely.
reports.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So other lessons
please.
from outside of operations is the leverage part of it. We have really learned our lesson and have been fortunate to just continue to pay down debt, be super conservative, because you never know when the ball is going to drop. Black swan event with the economy, COVID type event. There's so many things that are outside of our control. At the end of the day, the economy drives our business.
Let's talk capital and financing. Where are you getting most of your loans?
Most of our loans are still through regional banks, some local. A lot of times it's kind of the larger regional banks. We did do some CMBS, usually looking at when maturity is going to happen so we can get those paid off. But so yeah, that's kind of our financing
like regional
structure.
banks, balance sheet, you're willing to sign personal?
Yes, we sign all personal
All relationship,
guarantees.
handshake, old school.
Relationships, old school, and that's where the conservative nature comes in. There's a lot of different ways for people to do well in this industry. I totally get the acquirers that go in and try to leverage up, get a non-recourse loan. If the economy turns south, they can hand the keys back. With us, I'm signing a personal guarantee on every single loan, and so you really have a lot of skin in the game, and failure is not an option.
Where do you think that's just the generation that you grew up in? That's the time. That's how you were taught. So that's what you do.
Yes, exactly.
You
That's
come
what we're
in
taught.
more of the, I'll call it Wall Street, but more of the CMBS world. Maybe you do that. Maybe you would lever it all up and then take your chances.
I don't know. It's just we just have the roots, just true hoteliers.
Correct.
Where we just when we build these hotels, we don't think of them as assets. It's like almost like our homes. It's just you get a lot of connection with these things, and so that in that sense we don't mind signing these personal guarantees.
I think that's an important distinction, right? I'm going to call it the emotional connection, the passion projects, but you're right.
Yes.
Homes, they're not an asset. They're not a thing that we can trade.
Absolutely.
And you're pouring your heart and soul into all this.
Yes.
Construction, through operations, through 2003, 23 years of Hampton.
Right.
Which is why you won't sell it either.
That's right. Exactly. Some sentimental value. Yes.
But it's fun to learn that's your style, for lack of a better term. It's not the financial world that we live in as well. That's your style. More the passion. This is who we are. Yeah, we hear that a lot.
Exactly. I really enjoy going to our hotels, learning about operations, seeing what we can do to assist. I would rather be spending my time doing that than talking to lawyers and bankers and that whole world. So trying to really focus on your hotels pays off.
How would you describe your leadership style? How many team members do you have now, ish?
In our corporate team members, we have about 35 to 40.
Okay.
So pretty streamlined. Our style, I would say, is humble, approachable. I love when one of our general managers just picks up the phone and calls me. Doors open 24/7. That is the main part about leadership. There's nothing that anyone has done that I haven't done myself when it comes to, cleaning rooms, maintaining the hotel. So when they see that you're willing to come in and get your hands dirty, that you've done it, you could really relate with them. I think it really helps.
Yeah, you can see that. You're very kind. You're very approachable. Those are great words. I would agree with those. How do you see 2026, 27, 28 for the hotel, for Kana specifically, but then for the hotel industry in general?
Right. In general, I see that it's going to be challenging. It's not a lot of RevPAR growth,
right,
as everyone knows. So we just have to stay focused and hope that we're hotels that have the proper leverage they'll be fine, and continuing just to take care of our assets.
How worried are you about the expense creep that continues? Because RevPAR doesn't grow, so top line's not growing, but bottom line is getting eroded.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Yes, we are concerned about that, and that's where our number one controllable cost is labor. So we have to continue to look at how can we be more efficient as far as our labor, and really when top line is not growing that much, we have to gain market share. So we have to satisfy our guests even more. We have to focus on the things that we could focus and not worry about what's not in our control.
So I'm putting words in your mouth again. You're for 26. You're focused on existing assets and renovations and PIPs and operations, and let's hunker down and focus on the assets that we have.
Yes.
And make those run as efficiently as we can.
Yes, and potentially. We haven't been acquirers, but if it looks like there's ever something that can be picked up at a great basis, that'd be something that we may look at.
To your point, I think that's coming if it's not already here. Mm-hmm. We talk transactions, right? We see plenty of beautiful hotels. To your point, that didn't work. Maybe we're over levered, maybe weren't, maybe just didn't work.
Yes.
So that you can now buy at half price or buy for the debt. The kicker on those is that it's still a 2 cap, right? They're not cash flowing.
Right.
But you willing to buy at half price? I call them half price hotels. They're built for $300,000 a key. You can buy them for $150.
Right.
Still a 2 cap.
Well, when you develop, you're buying at a 0 cap.
Correct.
So yes, if it's something that you have confidence in, it makes sense.
My words is it's a time frame game, right? How long do we think for that market, that asset to come back / reach its potential of underwriting?
Yes.
And is it a suburban office market that is going to take a while, or is it a Pigeon Forge that is just a little dip and is going to boom again, or we just have to absorb some new supply? What happened with that submarket?
Right.
But we're seeing as our developers, not the financial people who are like, I'll take that. I'll buy that. I'll buy that 2 cap all day long.
Because the developers know how much that thing is going to cost.
Exactly right. And time and energy and headache.
Yes.
Of that. But I think that's one of the nuances that we see moving forward.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at the future, but next generation,
right?
Which is a big look now for everyone, and all the next generation is trying to figure out. And to your point, they're not really caring about it.
Yes.
But they're starting to get there. Some of the older ones are starting to be in their later 20s or in their early 20s. What is your view? I know your kids.
I'm curious what's going to happen with that.
Yeah,
yes. Are they going to be interested in the business that's now a lot more glamorous than when our parents?
A lot more.
Right?
Yeah, it was a terrible business.
Yeah, exactly. Like we got into our parents.
But somewhere in there, you said to your parents, I'm not operating those economy hotels.
Exactly.
I'm not doing that.
I don't want to do that, right?
That's hard, and I don't want to do that. We're spoiled.
Yes.
So then you went to development.
Right.
So that's the question we're at. What's the next generation gonna do? Somewhere I think it's gonna be just financial engineering.
I think so too. That's what I could see happening, where they're not they probably do not want to operate like we're operating.
Right.
But yes, they want to be probably in the ownership side, the financial engineering, the private equity, and they're going to have the means to be able to do all that.
They're going to be running the family office.
Yes.
They're going to be running the Kana family office.
But you know what's interesting on that, when you relate that to the brand side, when you have these brands like, and these massive third-party management companies that are managing, 200, 300, 400 assets, my understanding is that the hotels are not getting taken care of as much as the hotelier that was managing 3 or 4 hotels.
100%.
Right? It's the Chick-fil-A model.
True.
Right? Where you could only manage a small, finite number of stores. And obviously they got it figured out.
I won't name names, but the giant private equity firms that we deal with all the time. Yeah, their financial model, and we're not leaning into that hotel. We're not putting capital back in.
Right.
Because we're not going to get it out. So we're going to milk this thing as long as we can.
Yes.
Suck the returns, and then we'll get rid of it.
Right.
Not all of them. They're different personalities, different asset classes. But that's a thing. Whereas the owners, no, this is our home. This is our baby. We got to keep this thing up.
Yes, exactly. If you know that the next generation is not interested, or that you're starting to lose some of the passion, or whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, it's all about taking care of the hotel. So before it starts to deteriorate, I think it's a good time to make that transition. And that's what I always say when people ask me, are you ever going to sell these things? I said, right now we have all the energy in the world. We're improving them, but if there's ever a time that comes where we kind of have that little bit, we don't, we're going to let it deteriorate a little bit, we got to let someone else take care of it before that happens.
And it's funny, we feel the same way with our firm, right? I mean, there's the similarities, part of why I love doing this, the conversations, but everybody asks the same when we've had opportunities to sell plenty along the way, and I'm still with you. I'm still passionate about what we do.
Yes.
I'm doing it for my team members, for them to provide a life that hopefully it's an amazing place to come to work.
Yes.
And that we can do something that we want to do all day, every day, and love.
Exactly.
And I guess I'll put myself in the same shoes if and when it becomes hard and I don't want to do it anymore.
Yes.
Then it's then it's time
Then
to have a
it's
different
time.
conversation.
Yes.
But until then, I would love nothing more. I'm put words in your mouth to hand it to the next generation, whatever that means,
Right.
and be like, "Good guys, continue on with this."
Exactly.
Until there's no one there to step up to do it, then you
Yes.
make that decision at that time.
Right. That's for sure.
You like to claim that you are risk adverse. Mm-hmm. But I would argue, no, you're not.
Yes.
Building any hotel is risky, and now you're building these
Right.
awesomeness.
That's a very good point. Whenever you're building a new hotel, especially these kind of massive assets, there is nothing risk averse about it.
Right.
So I'd say maybe I'm risk averse if I'm going to Las Vegas or other parts of my life.
Okay.
But when I say risk averse, I'm thinking more in terms of the overall, the debt levels, the leverage.
Okay.
Do we decide to build another hotel or not? That sort of thing. But yes, any kind of development, you're getting plenty of the risk and the
Signing personally.
Yes,
What would every
yes.
developer say? You're only as good as your last development.
You're right.
Keep rolling it all into the next deal.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And we've seen where, there's owners that have a really successful asset and then they over leverage that asset to build another one next door and ends up hurting the entire portfolio. So all of that is always on our minds. I said about 5 years ago that we wouldn't be building anything, and then
Right.
here we are. So that is the bug that you get as a developer, and you've done it for so many years. And it's just that's honestly what we do for fun a lot of times. So can never say never, but I don't see it going back to where there was 3%, 4% supply growth. It's hard to
Do
envision.
you think how much of that is interest rates? How much of that is brand availability? How much of that is GDP growth versus, as you mentioned earlier, population growth?
I think the majority of it is GDP and population growth
Okay.
related. It's economic related.
Okay.
As we've seen, there's plenty of brands to develop. The brands have done a great job of that.
Right.
So it's mostly the opportunities, and at the end of the day, there is a lot of risk. There's a lot of effort to build these hotels. So if you're only going to get a 7 or 8% return, for example, why not push a button on your computer screen and buy an S&P 500 ETF versus go through all this headache?
Agreed. Well said. Yeah, and I can remember, sort of coming up in the stock market age, even the .com era. People were like, I'm not buying a hotel. I'm going to buy that because that stock went up 10 times.
Yes.
So there's a lot of that too. If I could just keep leaning into the stock market, why would I do all of this
Exactly.
headache?
And also on the contrarian side, because I know I've said a lot of maybe negative things about development. What I love about this industry long term is that at the end of the day, they are hard assets.
Right.
And so one of the risks long term is that we're a country with debt that continues to grow. And what's one of the ways that we're going to get out of this is printing more money, leading to more inflation. So in that sense, this is where you want to be with hard assets.
Yeah, it's what we learned in the last one, right? Which
Yeah.
is hurting us now,
Yes.
but own assets. A question I forgot to ask you, a question I want to ask you.
Yes.
How much did that first Hampton Inn cost to build per key?
Yes, that first Hampton Inn cost about $60,000 per key.
Right.
Yes.
55 was the number I was going to have.
Yes. Yes.
Right? That's what I remembered.
Yes.
Was 60,000 a key. I remember the first Hilton Gardens were 100,000 a key.
I remember when we hit that triple digit,
Yes.
I was like, oh God,
We can't make
90,000 a
any
key,
money.
100,000 a key? That's crazy.
Right.
What are we thinking?
Right. And now we're at 300,000 a key.
Yes.
400,000 a key. Somewhere in there is, we'll look back and be like, oh, we should have just kept building because now 300 is now 500.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. All right. Talk to me about this one.
This hotel has just been a dream project of ours. This one was a unique one. We started with just building an embassy by itself. We had a lot of extra land. And then after we saw the cost of all the amenities and what we really wanted to do, I mean, we have, swim up bars and all these pools and all kinds of stuff going on, the rooftop elements. And then I thought, okay, 168 keys with all of this stuff, it's going to be hard to make it pencil. Let's build some more rooms. And so after the embassy was already halfway under construction, we're able to work with Hilton and said, you know what, let's attach another one of their brands. And in this market, they have every single brand is representative. So we thought, Tempo might be something that's new. They could share a lot of the same amenities. The room sizes, the square footage is efficient. Let's see how this is going to work. And so far, we're new. So we're ramping up, but it's working out well.
80 rooms was the first.
That's right. Yes.
Right. And now we're pushing 300 rooms.
All the amenities and everything, we're just thinking there are so many people that come to the area. So even when the markets dip, it's all about market share. And so if you provide something that's unique that people want to come back to, we're in it for the long run, and it's going to be successful.
Was this your vision? When you were young Alpesh, going to build his first hotel, did you see this? Did you see 76 hotels and?
Oh, absolutely not.
Right.
Did not see that. In fact, I remember going into an Embassy Suites. I think it was in Buckhead or something. I wanted to stay at it, and I remember me and my sisters. We walked in. We convinced our parents, "Hey, can we try to stay here? Let's ask them what their room rates are." And I think they quoted like $99, and we just started laughing and walked out. We're like, we can't afford this place. But I remember, I'm like, God, this would be awesome to have one of these one day.
The reason I love doing the sit downs, they're in depth, but also we get to go walk around and take a camera and look at the fabulous new project.
Awesome. Let's go take a look.
I am excited to see what you've done.
Awesome.
All right, let's
Thank
go.
you.